Welcome to Fluid Coding and AI. Cursor is not just becoming a smarter editor. The stronger mental model is an agent operations console where you dispatch scoped coding agents, review their pull requests, run a security pass, and decide what actually ships. The old AI coding workflow was simple. Open the editor, ask one assistant for a feature, then inspect whatever changed. That works for small local edits. It breaks down when the feature touches the back end, front end, tests, documentation, and security assumptions at the same time. The problem is not that the agent cannot write code. The problem is that one huge agent run creates one huge review problem. Take a realistic feature, a team activity digest for a SaaS dashboard. A single agent can try to do everything. It adds the database query, builds the dashboard panel, updates tests, adjusts fixtures, and maybe touches release notes. By the end, every concern is tangled into one branch. Even if the code is decent, the operator now has to answer a harder question: which part is risky, which part is correct, and which part is just noise. Cursor's 2026 direction supports a different workflow. Its April changelog introduced /multitask for async subagents in the agents window, improved work trees for isolated background tasks across branches, and reusable multi-root workspaces for changes that span folders or repositories. Background agents can also work asynchronously in remote environments, push to separate branches, and hand off through GitHub. That means the editor can become the control surface for multiple bounded jobs. The console workflow starts before any agent writes code. The operator writes an operating contract, the feature goal, the files or areas each agent owns, the tests that must pass, and the evidence required before a pull request is considered ready. The unit of work is not a chat request, it is a reviewable change. That one rule keeps parallel agents from turning into parallel confusion. For the team activity digest, the split is straightforward. One agent owns the back-end endpoint and query. One owns the front-end dashboard panel. One owns tests, fixtures, and failure cases. One owns docs, migration notes, or the changelog. The point is not to make every task equal. The point is to give each agent a lane where its output can be understood without rereading the entire product. Parallel agents are only useful when their outputs can be reviewed independently. Work trees and branches are what make that possible. The back-end agent should not casually rewrite the dashboard component. The front-end agent should not quietly change the authorization model. Each branch should return with a small diff, a summary, and test evidence. Speed is nice, isolation is what makes the speed usable. Next comes review, and it should be a separate role, not a sentence buried at the end of the implementation request. Cursor's BugBot is designed to review pull request diffs for logic bugs, performance problems, and security vulnerabilities, with explanatory comments and fix suggestions. The useful pattern is not more comments, it is fewer, better comments that change the final code. A security pass should also be its own job. Cursor's vulnerability automation template is a good model. Inspect the added or modified code, trace attacker-controlled input to dangerous syncs, verify controls like authorization checks, validation, escaping, parameterize queries, and allow lists, then report only plausible medium, high, or critical findings. The security agent should comment with evidence. It should not automatically push fixes in the same pass. This is where responsible agent design matters. Microsoft guidance for agentic systems emphasizes clear purpose, boundaries, least privilege, approval for high-risk actions, pause controls, status visibility, outcome summaries, and logs. It also warns about agent hijacking through malicious inputs and tool outputs. In a console workflow, every agent should have a job, an owner, limited permissions, and an audit trail. The benchmark story is useful, but it has to stay scoped. Cursor reports Composer 2 at 61.3 on Cursor Bench 61.7 on Terminal, Bench 2.7 on SWE Bench Multilingual. Cursor also reports BugBot improvements from a 52% resolution rate to over 70%. Those numbers support a narrower claim. Cursor is investing in realistic agentic coding and review systems. They do not prove that any multi-agent workflow beats any single-agent workflow. There are real counterpoints. More agents can multiply coordination cost. Microsoft calls out agent sprawl as a risk when agents become unmanaged or over-permissioned. Recent research on agentic pull requests is also mixed. AI bot workflow reliability varies, and higher reviewer bot activity can correlate with longer pull request resolution times and lower average feedback quality. The answer is not to parallelize everything. It is to parallelize independent work and serialize integration. Now compare the result. The single agent workflow gives you one large branch and one late review. The operations console workflow gives you smaller branches, clearer ownership, earlier tests, a dedicated review pass, a dedicated security pass, and a final integration step. It is not automatically faster in every case, it is more inspectable. For serious features, inspectable beats magical. Use one agent for small, local, reversible changes. Use the console workflow when the work crosses boundaries, when multiple people need to review it, when security matters, or when the diff needs an audit trail. The professional skill is deciding what to split, what to isolate, and what to merge only after evidence is visible. Cursor gives you more than an assistant. Used well, it gives you an operating model. If this helped you think about Cursor as an agent operations console instead of just an editor, like the video and subscribe to Fluid Coding and AI. The next wave of coding tools will reward teams that can manage agents, not just instruct them.